Trump has just announced a sweeping new tariff.
As President Trump walks back tariffs on most products from
It started to impose retaliatory tariffs.
As Donald Trump's tariffs cast a huge...
Tensions are running high in North America's auto sector. Major headlines reveal a growing dispute over incentives and tariffs. Yet this clash runs deeper than mere policy. It's about who controls the future of electric mobility. According to Transport Canada, incentives for EV purchases have just been frozen, and Tesla stands at the center of that decision. Behind this move is a staggering figure. Canada's auto exports to the United States total 51 billion Canadian dollars, a hefty 93% of the nation's exports in this sector. Just days ago, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney took a campaign stop in Windsor, Ontario, a key auto manufacturing hub, to emphasize his commitment to protecting local jobs and domestic industry. Meanwhile, the Trump administration in the United States announced fresh 25% tariffs on imported vehicles. Such measures risk igniting a broader trade war that ensnares electric vehicles and, by extension, disrupts the entire EV landscape. Shawn Fain, president of the United Automobile Workers (UAW), has applauded the new tariffs. These tariffs are a major step in the right direction for auto workers. It signals a return to policies that prioritize the workers who build this country. Yet the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, ACEA, counters that U.S. auto tariffs will hurt global automakers and U.S. manufacturing at the same time. Underneath all this is a power struggle over how to carve up the future of electric cars. Observers say Tesla sits at a crossroads, forced to navigate intensifying regulations in the U.S. and frozen incentives in Canada. This turmoil sets the stage for high-stakes maneuvering, and at the center of it all is one simple question: what sparked Canada's crackdown on Tesla in the first place? The Tesla brand, once fiendishly popular in Canadian markets, is now under scrutiny. Authorities discovered unusual spikes in Tesla's incentive filings. Applications soared from 300 to 5,800 in a suspiciously short time. Canadian officials, citing their own investigations, noted that from compliance models to mass incentive filings, Tesla's tactics have raised concerns about who truly benefits from these EV subsidies. Hidden behind the glitz is a tale of compliance models specifically designed to meet Canada's rebate cost thresholds. Tesla's so-called compliance variants sold at artificially lowered prices, netting around 115 million Canadian dollars in subsidies. Critics call this a loophole. Supporters argue it's basic market strategy, but the discrepancy was so large that in March 2025, Transport Minister Chrystia Freeland blocked 43.1 million Canadian dollars in rebates outright, igniting a new wave of tense debate. Hard numbers fuel this controversy. The Canadian Automobile Dealers Association reported Tesla sold 8,753 vehicles in one whirlwind weekend across only 4 dealerships. Experts say Canada's freeze wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction. It's partly a retaliatory measure linked to the Trump administration's auto tariffs. The European Automobile Manufacturers Association, ACEA, warns that retaliatory moves strain global supply chains. In many ways, Tesla landed in Canada's crosshairs as a symbol of American corporate dominance. Some see it as an extension of Washington's trade aggression, while others believe Ottawa is simply reining in an EV powerhouse that might be gaming the system. Now, as the dust settles on these shocking revelations, a broader shift in the automotive trade landscape is unfolding. The uncertain trade environment is creating ripple effects that can alter the entire North American EV story. Trade wars rarely stay confined to a single commodity or border. Today, the Trump administration's new 25% tariff on imported vehicles has the global market guessing who will blink first. According to the White House proclamation on March 27, 2025, the threat to national security posed by imports of automobiles and certain automobile parts remains and has increased. Yet on the same day, the European Automobile Manufacturers Association fires back. We urge President Trump to consider the negative impact of tariffs not only on global automakers, but on U.S. domestic manufacturing as well. The tension comes down to a complex matrix of compliance. The White House fact sheet highlights that under the USMCA, automakers can certify U.S. content to avoid tariffs, but only on the portions they can prove were built domestically. That means extensive audits, which can become a nightmare if even minor components are sourced from overseas. Retroactive scrutiny raises another alarm. Overstate your Made in America content, and the tariff penalty applies retroactively, hurting profitability. This is more than a policy scuffle. It's a showdown over the future of automotive manufacturing. Trump's administration announced the tariffs would begin April 3rd, 2025, with immediate effect. ACA data on March 27, 2025 suggests retaliatory tariffs from Europe or Canada could be next, and that leads to a crucial midpoint consideration. Auto workers celebrate job security, but investors fear fracturing supply lines. By the way, if this video resonates, give it a like. It helps this video reach a broader audience. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit notifications to stay in the loop. Still, these developments don't exist in a vacuum. Tesla's alleged market manipulation, fresh allegations that go beyond mere technicalities, hint at deeper fissures in the North American EV scene. Reports indicate Tesla's compliance model approach may not be the only source of suspicion. According to Canadian investigations on March 2025, the manufacturer's incentive application skyrocketed from a few hundred to thousands in a matter of weeks. Government insiders believe the brand orchestrated bulk orders and artificially boosted sales figures to capitalize on rebates before new rules kicked in. Critics argue these tactics border on market manipulation, pointing to the infamous 2019 Compliance Model 3 that slid just under Canada's price cap. Such engineering feats are lauded in tech circles, but seen by regulatory bodies as a cunning way to skirt the system. Public backlash hasn't been gentle. Some Canadians feel Tesla exploited taxpayer-funded programs for profit. Others see Ottawa's freeze as an overreaction. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mark Carney continues to champion his crackdown on questionable corporate behavior in coordinated statements. The bigger question emerges: is this a one-off scenario or a sign of bigger cracks in government-led EV incentives? While details remain unverified, the tension escalates daily. Washington's new auto tariffs, Ottawa's freeze on incentives, and allegations of manipulation create a perfect storm. Without a doubt, Tesla's brand is rattled, but so is investor confidence in the broader EV ecosystem. This leads us to the core. Will these events drive an industry-wide reset or inflame further confrontation between government agencies and automakers? The ramifications for industry and investors are unfolding as we speak. It's not just Tesla's future on the line. Every global automaker eyeing the North American market is bracing for impact.
Transport Canada is freezing rebate payments for Tesla.
Investors sense the turbulence. Shockingly, Tesla saw a 5.6% drop in market value the instant Canada froze its rebates. Billions in capitalization vanished overnight, showcasing how government policies can pivot investor sentiment. The White House fact sheet points to a $93.5 billion deficit in auto parts trade last year, fuel for the argument that domestic supply chains need protecting. Some see the new tariffs as a plausible fix. Others call it self-inflicted harm. Automakers like Ford, GM, and even Toyota must now grapple with supply chain recalibration. Sticking to the US-Mexico-Canada agreement guidelines could mean reorganizing factories so parts meet the content threshold. Retroactive penalties loom for overstating domestic input, creating enormous legal and financial risks. According to a Federal Register proclamation on March 2025, enforcement will be strict, potentially resulting in full-value tariffs on misreported components. Meanwhile, underutilized plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Kentucky may roar back to life if manufacturers bring production home instead of shifting costs to consumers. The result? A high-stakes balancing act for the entire auto sector, with fortunes in play for both industry titans and everyday investors. Auto manufacturing isn't just about cars anymore. It involves merging technology, multinational supply chains, and a swirl of geopolitical pressures. The White House fact sheet underscores a sobering trend. only 25% of American-assembled vehicles truly qualify as made in America. This highlights global interdependence across robotics, battery cells, semiconductors, and software. But auto experts argue politics is complicating an already intricate supply chain. On March 27, 2025, the ACEA suggests Europe could retaliate with its own tariffs, hitting U.S. exports beyond autos. This escalation could hamper not only trade, but also cross-border collaboration on electric vehicle tech. At the same time, governments in Canada and the US emphasize energy independence, hoping to source more materials domestically and become less reliant on Asia or Europe for advanced EV components. The stakes for this disruption go beyond immediate profits. Tech innovation is on the line. Battery breakthroughs, autonomous driving systems, and AI-driven manufacturing rely on broad global cooperation. Splintered trade relations could stall or redirect that progress. On the flip side, labor unions see a window to restore thousands of lost jobs in the Midwest. A 34% decline in auto parts manufacturing since 2000 could be reversed if production shifts back home. Yet adopting new technologies isn't cheap or quick. Industry watchers say tariffs might accelerate nearshoring, but also provoke price wars with global rivals. Amid these swirling threads, legal face-offs loom between companies, governments, and international bodies. Those looming court battles could rewrite not only who makes cars, but possibly how cars are made in the first place. In this unfolding drama, multiple paths stretch ahead. Automakers from Europe and Japan might argue that these walls on imports violate World Trade Organization rules. Meanwhile, the United States stands firm, labeling automotive imports a threat to national security, pointing to the White House proclamation on March 27, 2025 as grounds. A quick settlement seems unlikely. Instead, legal experts predict months of arbitration and potential counter tariffs that push global automakers into a corner. As supply chains get reconfigured to meet tightened USMCA requirements, strategic shifts are inevitable. Some manufacturers may open or expand plants on American soil. Others might pull out of North America, focusing on friendlier markets. Then come the price wars. If new duties raise vehicle costs, how do automakers stay competitive? Slashing profit margins is one option. Passing costs along to consumers is another, risking public backlash. And in the EV market, high development costs already squeeze profits. According to UAW President Shawn Fain, on March 2025, companies that prioritize short-term shareholder returns over long-term investment in domestic facilities will face both political and consumer blowback. Tech giants investing in EV software might step in with cross-collaborations, bridging the gap between old-school manufacturing and digital innovation. But the window for these deals narrows if trade tensions escalate further. From courtrooms to boardrooms, every decision could radically reshape how cars and the required technology are built and sold. Given all these swirling dynamics, Tesla's once inevitable dominance no longer seems guaranteed. Retroactive tariffs and suspended Canadian incentives have turned its seemingly unstoppable EV rise into a question mark. Yet the brand's resilience shouldn't be underestimated. After all, Tesla disrupted the automotive status quo when few believed an all-electric future was near. Now, the stakes are higher. This is about global supply chains, national security claims, and billions in public subsidies. One question lingers. Could newly imposed tariffs and potential lawsuits push Tesla to relocate or downsize operations? Skeptics point to ballooning R&D costs and intensifying competition. Optimists counter that Tesla thrives under pressure, harnessing controversy to spark even more technological leaps. In this new era of shifting alliances and tough trade measures, bets on America's largest EV player aren't guaranteed. But the broader question remains: how will tariffs ultimately hit everyday drivers' wallets, and what does that mean for sustainable transportation worldwide? But what do you think? Are we witnessing the end of Tesla's golden age, or is this simply another chapter in its relentless expansion? Let us know in the comments below. Also, Consider subscribing for more. Thanks for watching.